Hi, my name's Paul Owen, and I'm here today with Simon Rice. I'll come to Simon in a moment. Morning, Simon.
Morning, Paul.
We're here today to talk about the IPCC report. For those who don't know, the IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and they're part of the United Nations, and they assess science on climate change. And they had a recent report on climate change called Code Red for Humanity. It was effectively a warning shot to the world that climate catastrophe can be averted if we take action quickly. And since then, there have been various other reports, and one that you picked up on, Simon, by Deloitte, which highlighted 5 key areas of concern. And we're going to talk about one of those today. For those who don't know Simon, he's founder and MD of HSG UK, specialist in water conservation and washroom services. And Simon is here to share his thoughts on that report. And one area in particular today, Simon, I'm keen to hear from you about. And that was the first one highlighted by Deloitte, the scarcity of resources and the cost of resources. So for the ignoramuses like me, if you like, Simon, let's start with the obvious. Why is scarcity of resources so important?
Well, if we look at water specifically, only 3% of the world's water is fresh water. And only a quarter of that is actually accessible from rivers or lakes or the ground. And the rest is locked in inaccessible stores such as glaciers. As we all know, water is essential for all living creatures, and without an adequate continuous source of water, life on Earth would not exist, basically. Not only do we need water for the essential functions of life, but we also need water to produce the products of modern life. And a simple one is to grow crops. So obviously to water the crops and to grow food. It's predicted that many countries could experience water scarcity as soon as 2025. So obviously, you know, that's 4 years away, and that is a major worry. The 2030 Water Resources Group, they believe that by 2030, global demand for water will be 40% higher than it is today. And if action is not taken to curb the worst effects of climate change, then water supplies could diminish even further. So as you say, it doesn't really take a scientist to understand that unless we act quickly, we're going to have a big problem. So it's essential that we protect all of our resources, basically, as the results could be catastrophic to the world if we don't do that.
Frightening thought.
Absolutely.
My next question, Simon, really is, if we get this wrong, if we don't make the changes necessary, what could happen?
Yeah, big problems. I think the first point of note, though, is that it isn't really game over as such for the planet. If there is quick and decisive action, we can stabilise the rising temperatures. But it has to be quick and it has to be decisive. They're the 2 key words, really. Since 1970, the surface temperatures of the world have risen faster than in any other 50-year period during the last 2,000 years. And the last 5 years have been the hottest on record since 1850. So again, those kind of figures indicate that we've got problems. Almost every nation on Earth signed up for the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015. And the aim of that is to keep the rise in global temperatures well below 2 centigrade this century, and also try hard to keep it under 1.5 centigrade. The new IPCC Code Red report that you mentioned right at the start, Paul, says that under all the emission scenarios considered by scientists at the moment, both of those targets will be broken this century, unless huge cuts in carbon take place. So again, it's that decisive action that needs to take place now. And the authors of the report actually believe that the increase of 1.5 degrees centigrade will actually be reached by 2040 in all scenarios. And if emissions aren't slashed in the next few years, this could happen even earlier. So again, you know, it is an immediate problem that we all face.
Yeah, concerning for us all, I guess. But then taking you back to what you said earlier when you first started speaking, Simon, you talked about, you know, it's important to remember it's not too late. You know, action can be taken and we can avert the catastrophe that we would otherwise face. So let's take the positive view. If people do make the changes, if they do conserve, resources, what would change?
As we know, humans have caused major climate changes to happen already, and there's also other things been set in motion alongside that, and that are all things that we've all done. If we stopped emitting greenhouse gases today, the rise in global temperatures would flatten in a few years, and I think that's a key thing to kind of get our heads around. Really, it wouldn't immediately flatten; it'd take a few years to do that. And then eventually temperatures would plateau, but they would still remain high for many, many centuries. So, that's for me, that is quite a key thing, really. And it makes it imperative that we act now. But the benefits, obviously, of making the changes beyond the ones we've mentioned already would be new jobs, and those would be green jobs, economic growth, cleaner air, more efficient public transport systems, utilising electric vehicles, etc., and energy efficient homes and offices with intelligent heating and cooling systems. But above all, I think, for us all, and it's something to focus on, we'd be protecting the planet for our children and our children's children. So, for me personally, that is a key thing.
Yeah. So I guess it's about lots of different people playing their part, right? And having taken your time today to pick your brains on the report, I should give you a bit of a chance to talk about HSG. What could, or rather, what are HSG doing to help with this?
As you mentioned at the start, Paul, we here at HSG, we specialise in water conservation within washrooms, and specifically urinals. And it's kind of well known that the majority of wasted water that goes through a commercial building would actually go through the urinals themselves. So addressing the wasted water through urinals goes a long way towards protecting water. And it's also crucial to remember that water that is flushed through the urinals is fresh drinking water as well. So in terms of some quick facts and figures, a lot of urinals flush 4 times an hour, so that's every 15 minutes. And they'll also flush throughout the night as well when the building is empty. So that's up to 96 times a day. HSG can reduce this to 4 times a day by installing the Eco product and the Eurotech water management system. So in real terms, what does that mean? Well, on a 9-litre cistern, this means that you would reduce the water usage from over 315,000 litres per annum to just over 13,000 litres per annum, potentially saving over £750 in the process as well. So not only are you doing your bit to protect the planet, you're also saving money in the process. In addition, you can also stop smells and blockages with the product as well, which in turn prevents harsh chemicals needed to be poured into the urinals and into the drainage system. So consequently, you can see even on that example there of 1 cistern in your building, it's well worth addressing the wastewater issue and doing your bit to address Code Red for humanity.
Great. So anybody with urinals in a building, be it a restaurant, a retail store, a shopping park, business park, whatever it might be, can benefit from getting in touch. Obviously, if you want to find out more about IPCC reports, then they can look up Code Red for Humanity, I guess. But how do people find out more about you and your team, Simon?
Obviously, feel free to visit the website, which is www.hsguk.com, or feel free to give us the office. Again, the contact details, give the office a call. The contact details are on the website. It's an 0800 number. It's a free phone number. And there's also the email address, contact details on there as well, which is info@hsguk.com.
Great. And I guess people can also find you online on LinkedIn. You're on there, Simon. They want to come to you direct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to look me up and connect. We won the Queen's Award for Innovation at HSG back in 2018. So I think the profile picture on LinkedIn is one of me receiving that Queen's Award. So yeah, you'll know you've hit on the right person if you see that.
Brilliant. Simon, thanks for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Paul.